and welcome. My name's Super Saiyan and this is your weekly news and pre-order video, coming to you a little bit later than expected, but still arriving nonetheless. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record this video on the Saturday, the 30th of November, because I was at the Warhammer 40,000 open day, and I'm just putting together a load of my pictures and my thoughts and things to make a video that will be out very shortly, reviewing the entire event and ways to improve it for next time. There have been a lot of news and there's been quite a few products up for pre-order this weekend, so I really wanted to do this video and go through all of them. I'm currently producing a video every single day in December as kind of like a little advent calendar of videos. So if you didn't get that advent calendar full of chocolate, at least you've got one of my videos every day of Warhammer goodness. And as I've said in a most recent video, I have a lot of content lined up, but if there is anything specifically you'd like to see over this holiday period, please just drop a suggestion down in the comments below. If you'd like to support this channel monetarily, I do have a Patreon. There are quite a few of you that do that, and for as little as $1 a month, thank you ever so much. It really helps the channel out. I create all of this content off my own back. This isn't my job. I work full time and I also work a couple of part-time jobs too. So any kind of support is more than welcome and helps the channel continue creating the content. I'd like to be in a position which I was a year ago, where I was releasing a video every single day non-stop. That would be perfect. However, if you can't support the channel that way, I would urge you to buy all of your miniatures from Element Games. You get 15 to 25% off if you use the affiliate link down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just tells them that I've told you about them. Let's get straight to the community website, which from the 23rd of November, just about a week ago, we had a look at the Psychic Awakening next chapter. The book and the Sorcerer were up for pre-order last weekend, and they came out the weekend just gone. And also on the Saturday there was an Angels for Advent, why you should pre-order. You've got Get Me Free, which is Dante by Guy Haley, 12 ebook and ebook premieres and subscription and so on. So that's the subscription for Black Library. On the Saturday also there's Made to Order Agents of the Throne. This was in conjunction with the Inquisitor Codex that was out within the White Dwarf, with these female Inquisitors, these Witch Hunters, and this guy here, and some Demon Hosts, and some old metal Assassins. I have the Calidus and the Vindica, but not in that pose. You've also got this Confessor, and yeah, it contains rules for a number of Inquisition models, and if you stay tuned to the channel, I will be reviewing that kind of mini codex within White Dwarf very shortly, and I'll be showcasing some of the models. I've got Kotiaz, I've got Eisenhorn. I'll be going through their rules and having a detailed look, because I just had a quick gloss over in the November issue of White Dwarf First Look. Then on the Sunday it was Coming Soon, Blood of Baal, Battle Forces and Beyond. So this was a look at what was up for pre-order for this weekend, the Saturday just gone, which is all the Battle Forces for Age of Sigmar. And I've got some exciting news to tell you about Age of Sigmar on the channel very soon. The Adeptus Titanicus getting a new battle force. I think it's about £80. We'll have a look at it in depth. Looks awesome though. Then there's a Psychic Awakening little trailer, which focuses on the Blood of Baal, with Mephiston having the Chief Librarian Mephiston having a Primaris upgrade. He's crossed the rubric and had his 3 extra upgrades, and he's a lot taller and menacing for it. I normally like plasma pistols, and that pose sort of works for me, but it kind of looks like, with the wind being swept like that, it kind of looks like he's jumped back and then fired his pistol rather than jumped forward. Or maybe it's just very windy that day and he just outstretched his plasma pistol. But I do prefer the other pose. There's 2 poses in the box. Shame you can't get a helmeted version, but there's 2 poses in the box, and this is one of them. The other one is with his right hand crossed over his face. And then there's Chapter Approved 2019, Kill Team Annual 2019. Be able to use your Sisters of Battle in Kill Team. Absolutely fantastic. So let's go back. And there was a Big Brothers episode 8, Blood of Baal article, Battle Forces, why you need 1 or 4. Again, I'm not really a big fan of Games Workshop pushing this why you should or why you need. They don't need any of that. Their share prices is through the roof. They're a £1.4 billion company now. Next year is going to be big for them as well. Sisters of Battle were all secured within 15-20 minutes. So I don't feel like there should be this urgency, unless there's something just around the corner that's going to really affect their business. But I highly doubt that. Anyway, these are the Battle Forces. Why you need 1 or 4. Yeah, what they're doing with that is they're essentially saying you should spend £500 minimum on Battle Forces. Well, there's only 6, and they aren't amazing. They are an excuse to sell old sprues and old models. There's some very old models in there, not that many new models. I'll be going through a breakdown of all these Battle Forces with Mascat soon. The Gloomspike Gits one is nice, but doesn't have that many models. And that's replicated through all of them. They're not as decent as the Apocalypse sets that came out in the summer, and they're certainly not as decent as the Battle Forces last year. The best one, in my opinion, is the Chaos Space Marine one. That's purely biased, of course, for me, because I collect Chaos Space Marines, but I've got all of those models anyway, and I see no reason to get that set to boost my force too. I mean, if they had a unique Chaos Lord in there, or Malleus, or a newer model, then, and instead of the Rhino they had another Venom Crawler, I'd be all over it like a rash on a Death Guard. But it's not the case with this. You've got an old Rhino, an old Chaos Lord, and then you've got all the other new models. If you haven't got those new models, then it's worth it picking up for them. Then you've got the Battle Force for the Adeptus Titanicus Knight household. If you've got the Doom of Moloch, you've got Knight household forces. It primarily focuses on that. So if you get the Doom of Moloch, this is this should have been released with it, but now it's finally released. You've got Chapter Approved 2019 edition. The points updates to look out for. You've got Dark Angels. A massive drop there from 38 points to 34 points. You've got Grey Knights, Necrons, Aldari Flyers as well. Blood of Baal chapter focus of the Blood Angels. There's a Rumour Engine. Faith and Fury, a tale of 2 warlords. Adeptus Sororitas, Kill Team sighted. Start, then continue collecting. Of course, that's what they want you to do. The Shadowspear box set that came out earlier in the year, they've split the sprues up into a Chaos Space Marine Start Collecting set and a Vanguard Space Marine set. The Space Marine one is much worse, although you do get the Helix Adept, which doesn't show on the side there, and he is there, but don't leave home without him if you've got some infiltrators. And you've got the suppressors. That's the only way to get the suppressors at the moment. You've got 3 eliminators, but they've had their own separate kit, and you've had your own separate kit for infiltrators. But you do get the Lieutenant in Phobos armor. The other one, the non-cool one, I want to say. No, he's still looking pretty cool. They call him a Lieutenant in Phobos armor. If anything, he's closer to the Incursors than the Infiltrators, because he's got the 2 combat blades, but he does have the Grav Chute on the back. The Chaos Space Marine one is fantastic, and again, it's the only current way to get the Greater Possessed and the Venom Crawler and the Obliterators. I think the Master of Possession was available separately. He might not be, though, to be honest. But that's a good set if you haven't got any of those models. Even if you have, that'll bump up your force, and that's definitely a better set, in my opinion. I hope they do bring out a suppressor kit that's separate, but because it's only got 1 weapon option, I would have thought that that's quite unlikely. Whereas at least the Eliminators had 2 weapon options. And it just goes through all the options that you can use with the Start Collecting sets and the books to buy combined with it. and a very old Demon Prince now. There's Chapter Approved 2019, 3 ways to make your next club night awesome. The Blood of Baal Faction Focus, Regimental Standard Wondrous Flamer, 2019 Forging a Narrative, Kill Team Choose Your Specialist Subject, tell us about your Warhammer heroes. So it's that time of year where you can nominate your Warhammer hero, get a little plaque on the wall. You've got to do it by the 31st of December, and it'll be Bookman's Bar in Warhammer World. Perhaps someone who runs an event, raises money for charity, or creates great podcasts or videos. There's a Warhammer Age of Sigmar Underworlds, Cataphrane Chronicle, a mission for turn signals on a Land Raider, and then tanks for the reinforcements. Bit of a pun there, but this is the new Sabre strike tank. I was incredibly upset, although I didn't cry, that this wasn't available at the Warhammer 40,000 Open Day. Yes, it's Warhammer 40,000 Open Day, but last year in the Warhammer 40,000 Open Day, there were models for Horus Heresy and from Forge World that were available on that event that weren't available yet. And typically there are. This 40k Open Day, there wasn't anything available there that you couldn't already get, if that makes sense. I think they've swapped tactics now, whether it's to hit the scalpers. I don't know what the reason is. Either way, they've got enough money and they don't want any more money in terms of this. If there were these tanks there, I would have bought one or two. As it stands, there weren't any. I'm sure there are many other people that were there that would have bought a couple of these tanks. It's up for pre-order this weekend. We'll have a look at it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's just a real shame that it wasn't available, kind of like on an early release, like they've done for many years. We'll go through this in a moment. There was a Psychic Awakening Feeding Frenzy. Another look at the next Psychic Awakening book. Inquisitorial Kit Bash. Kill Team Annual, our top 5 features. Reveals from the Warhammer 40,000 Open Day. This is another thing that bugged me. I did expect it, of course. The tickets for the Open Day were £20. For me, my petrol was about 50, so that's 70. And then for me, it was about 6 hours of travelling. So 6 hours of travelling, £70, and they put all the reveals from the Open Day on the actual day. I don't know why I always get annoyed about it, but they never used to do this. They never used to reveal it, or they revealed it afterwards. They did this with the Horus Heresy event as well. They're not going to stop doing this. So if you live close to Nottingham, you can factor in whether you think that ticket for £20 is worth it. Bearing in mind all you're going to be doing is just looking at things that they're going to be putting on the internet or not on the same day, probably earlier than you get in. That's up to you. But for me, it's pretty disappointing. And probably for other people that have to travel further, or people in Europe or wherever, it's kind of taking the mick out of your community. But this isn't the video where I review the event. This is just a little gloss over of what happened. If you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on the Open Day, what was good and what was bad, check out my Open Day review coming shortly to the channel. They revealed the Triumph of St. Catherine, which I wanted to find out, what it looked like after getting the codex the day before, and it is fantastic. It's better in flesh. That's the terrible picture, in my opinion. There's so many more details from different angles that I managed to take pictures of. There's another picture of the Repentia with the Sister Superior, and also the Archoflagellants, and some more below. But they look all pretty unique, don't they? Cult Mechanicus, this was another big reveal on the day. Spoke to Jez about the 3 different types of this flyer. I like the wings, I really do. The legs looked a bit odd. You can't see the legs there for whatever reason. I saw this in the flesh, and that's one of the good things about the Open Day. You can see these models, see the sizes, see the paint job, admire them a lot better at the Open Day. And I can feed that back to you guys, but essentially there's going to be just your normal flyer that has a bit of a troop transport, a bomber that has no transport, and then a dedicated sort of attack fighter with some pretty good little weapons. I thought that Mechanicus would have flyers. I thought that they would come at some point, and here they are. It seems to have come quite soon after the Scorpius. I don't know whether the Scorpius is selling well. I don't know how much this thing is going to cost. Whether it's going to be 45, maybe £50. I asked Jez what the troop transport capacity was, and he didn't say, even though on his bit of paper it said 5 to 10. But I did spot some of the design cues from other Mechanicus ranges, which was great. Grots with wings, so you've got this big heavy bomber with grots that pilot the bombs. You know, reminds me a lot like the Japanese kamikaze in these like non-engined bombs that would just drop. And then the Angel of Death as well, and a book by Darius Hinks, City of Light. That was a little bit about the open day. There's Darkness and Light to pre-order. We're going to go through those in a moment. Get what you want this Christmas with the list. March to Battle at Warhammer World coming next week. This is the big news I wanted to tell you. I will be getting this Slaves to Darkness box set. I think it's fantastic. I love all the knights. I have a Chaos Warhammer army anyway, a very small one. I just love this model too. If I could put a 40k character on there, I would do. I think some of the I think the hatchets are a little bit small, but I prefer more of a blade on there. But there we go. That is the big news, that I will be purchasing this Slaves to Darkness set. I'm not sure I'll get the book. I may get the book. We'll see. But if you think I should go full Slaves to Darkness army, then please do put it in the comments below. It would be great to hear your thoughts on this new adventure for me. And that's what's going to be up for pre-order next weekend. There's a Big Brothers episode 9, and that's pretty much it. So that's all of the news from the community website. There's an awful lot for me to have gone through, you know, even though it's only been a week and a couple of days. There's definitely going to be more and more news over the next couple of months before they wrap up for Christmas. Let's go on to Forge World and have a look at this amazing looking tank and break it down. So they've put it in the Dark Angels colours. Dark Angels will feature heavily in the next Horus Heresy novel. I think you'll get a model of Lionel Johnson. Maybe you'll get a 40k plastic one. Who knows? If we click on pre-orders and we look at these, so when I first saw this tank, I mean, it's out of stock. Firstly, the tank and the armory. So already that tells me that if they had them at the event, then people would have scooped them up. It wasn't out of stock on Saturday, so there is demand for it, and it's one of the best looking models that Forge World have brought out for a while. It's a new tank. It's a new tank chassis. It's not, this chassis has not been around before. It's not a Sicaran. It's a fast tank though. So there is an appetite for this. When I first saw it at £86, I thought, wow, that is, you know, more than a Sicaran. However, that is with all of the weapons. It's hard to see there, but you've got 4 pintle weapons, and you've actually got 3 of the main hull weapons. In a way, you're kind of getting like a Sicaran, but 3 variants with the 4 different pintle weapons. So if you only wanted one of these tanks, that's pretty awesome. If you wanted 2, you could get the Sabre tank armory and a normal Sabre tank, and then you could swap the weapons out as you see fit. You don't have to spend the £86 on the full armory kit though. You can just buy the £50 tank with one of those 3 weapons, which are £12 each. This is the way to do it, in my opinion. Offer all the pintle weapons, have the vehicle with all of the main weapons, and then sell the main weapons separate. This is a perfect way of doing it, rather than what they've done before, which is they would have had this one tank with one weapon, have 3 versions of this one tank with the one weapon. They're actually selling you the tank separately, so you can pick which weapon you want to go with it. And I think they should have done that with the Sicarans. Let's have a look at this tank then. It is available. It's ready to pre-order, but you won't be able to get those weapons for it, the main weapons. So if you do game with this, then you're going to miss out on the hull weapon. But I'm pretty sure they're working overtime to get more of them. I do like these pincer weapons. You've got the Volkite Culverin, you've got a heavy bolter, heavy flamer, and a multi-melter. That is a multi-melter. Yes, it looks a bit like a flamer because it's got the fuel canisters on the back, but this is a Horus Heresy multi-melter. I really like it. I really like the chassis. I like the simplicity of it. I like the footholds going up the side of the tank. It's not a massive tank as such. It's not huge. It would have been good if they showed some size comparisons on the actual product, but on the first page you can see it next to some Horus Heresy Marines. I like the 4 missile launchers. They are only strength 6 though, so don't get too excited. Yeah, I really like it, and it looks brilliant with a weapon. There it is with the massive Volkite weapon. If you go to the downloads and you click on the rules, they actually give you the rules for free. They normally do this. It's quite cheap at 65 points, and that is it equipped with an anvilus snub autocannon and a heavy bolter. You can upgrade that for an extra 20 points to get the neutron blaster, or 15 points for a Volkite Psyker. You can also upgrade the heavy bolter to a heavy flamer for free, multi-melter for 25, and a Volkite Culverin. If it was me, I'd try and keep everything at the same range. All of those main weapons are 24 inches. It's got special rules, missile lock, but unfortunately it's not on here. You're going to have to look at the Age of Darkness book to find that. You can have up to 4 Sabre missiles. You're going to have to buy them separately, so that's an extra 20 points. So it's 85 points base, say, if you want to have those Sabre missiles. And these are what they are. They're a 36-inch range, strength 6 AP4, heavy 1, one-use rending. So it's good that they're one-use rending. It's alright that they're range 36 because it is a fast tank. It's just the strength and the AP are lacking a little bit of punch. You've got the 3 options for the main weapons there. You've got an anvilus snub autocannon, neutron blaster, and Volkite Psyker. The snub autocannon, they all have the same range, but they differ in strength, number of shots, and armor penetration. The Volkite Psyker has that heavy 60 flag rate rule as well. However, the neutron blaster does have shock pulls, which could knock out its own hull points, and it only has 3. It's the same kind of poor rule that the Cerberus tank has. Is it called the Cerberus? I think it is. Anyway, going back from the rules for the Sabre tank, let's just have a look at it with these main weapons. There we go. Well, there's the snub cannon. There's the neutron, and then there's the Volkite Psyker. Interesting that you can tilt it. That will be a one pose. I'm sure you won't be able to tilt it in the vehicle once it's built. You won't be able to move that turret. I think it will just be set in place. It looks decent, funky. I really like it. It fits the Horus Heresy. And that's all there is for pre-orders for Forge World. Let's jump on over to Games Workshop and have a look at this huge amount that's there. There he is. There's Mephiston, Chief Librarian Mephiston, Blood Angels in his Primaris upgrade, licking his lips, wiping his nose, eating a carrot stick, whatever you want to add to his pose there, you can do. There's the pre-orders. If we click on View All and we go high to low, you've got the Spear of Baal collection, Blood Angels Crimson Spear Strike Force. So I don't think it is the Start Collecting set. It is the Battle Force. So you've got a Battle Force, which is about £110. You've got the book, which I think is £25. And then you've got Mephiston himself. And Mephiston is £25. These are the Battle Forces for Age of Sigmar. You've got a Skaven Corrupting War Swarm for 120. Drakari Poison Blade Raiding Party for 110. Stormcast Eternals Exorcism Soul Strike, Gloomspite Gits, and then we're into 40k for a little bit. You've got Tyranid Spire Swarm for 110. You've got the Nighthawk Court of the Craven King for Age of Sigmar. A lot of models in that set. And Blood Angels Crimson Spear Strike Force for 110. Chaos Space Marines Vengeance Warband for 100. Third party, that's £75. That's a very good deal for £75. Even if you were to get the normal Space Marines, which are 35, the Havocs, which I think are 35, that's 70. You've already made your money up. You're getting Terminators, the Lord and the Rhino for free. You've got Space Wolves, Talons of Morkai, and then the Tau, Starclaimer Hunter, Cadre for 100. Darkness in the Blood Limited Edition, £85. You can still pre-order that. So only 1,500 left. You've got a Blood Angels journal. You get the book, dice in a cloth bag, 3 coins, metal pin badge, and a sand timer. Put it in the comments what you think the sand timer is for. I don't know, but the dice are lovely. Coins are quite nice. That's pretty cool too. They should do more bookmarks, and they don't. I've always said that. They're now making dice boxes and things like that, but yeah, they need to do more bookmarks, in my opinion. Knight Household Battle Force. This is £80, and this includes 6 Questoris Knights, 4 Knight Lancers, and 2 Porphyrians. I think that's quite a good deal for 80. You got Chapter Approved 2019 Warlord Edition. At first, I thought it was just a money-making scheme where they could make one book into 2 books and obviously charge you double, but it's not, because you get the Monitorium Field Manual with Chapter Approved anyway. Psychic Awakening Blood of Bile Collector's Edition. It's £50, like all the collector's editions are. You've got soft touch covers, you've got the Page Keeper, especially not for 50. I don't know why they did these collector's editions for these little upgrades every month or every couple of months. It's basically every month it has been. It's 80 pages, which means it's the same number, I think. I think it's a similar number of pages to the first Psychic Awakening book, but not as much as the second one. You got City of Light and Lord of Death collection. I guess the City of Light book is out of stock because Mephiston's there. Psychic Awakening Blood of Bile for £25. This is Mephiston for £25, and you've got a picture of him wiping his lips after a cup of tea or a mince pie. Yeah, fantastic model. £25, very decent. I've still got the old Mephiston model, which I like. There you go, Chapter Approved 2019 edition, £20. It's a 112 page softback book, so a decent number of pages. You've got guidelines for linking your games of 40k, Kill Team, and Apocalypse. Loads of new missions. Just says loads of new missions, and doesn't tell you how many. Then you also get a 56 page book containing all the latest match play points updates. So there you go. I wonder if it's got all the Sisters of Battle in there too. But yeah, that's the Monitorium Field Manual. Look, Adeptus Astartes, so all the updated points, which is fantastic. Yep, the book is sold out online. £18. That's good that it's 18 and it's not 20. You've got Invocations paperback, Dark Harvest paperback, Born of Flame paperback, Illyrium, Darius Hinks, and Crystal Cathedral, E-Short, and Blood of Bile datasheet cards. You get these for free when you get a copy of Psychic Awakening Blood of Bile. So even though it costs you, I think, £5 more, you are getting something extra by getting it from Games Workshop. I always think they should have done a loyalty scheme. Maybe they will in the future. So that is all of the pre-orders. It's been a bit rushed, even though there's a lot for me to have crammed into this video. I will be continuing with daily videos, and I hope you enjoy them. And I will be going through all of these battle forces separately, going through a full breakdown of every single unit and just how much you're going to save by getting them, even though they're a bit disappointing this year. What do you guys think of all the pre-orders and that Sabre Strike tank? Please do put it in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.